Okay, so I just got off playing DMC5 and I just wanted to sit and talk about it. Get things off my chest before it chokes me up. Now, it's not going to be a formal critique, but more like an informal discussion. So this video might come across as little unstructured and kind of loose. Ab DMC5, it was obvious that it would have a very difficult time living up to its hype. This game was super hyped. Ek to it's a beloved series. Second, it's a mainline series in the DMC universe. And third, ये DMC 11 साल के बाद निकल के आ रही थी and fans were really excited about it. They wanted it and there was so much expectations building around it that I was scared कि ये game तो ना वो expectations कभी पूरी कर ही नहीं पाएगी. And then this hype was compounded by the fact that it was selling like hot cakes. ऊपर से इंडिया में भी ये out of stock जाती रही है. I was trying to get the deluxe edition. I could not get hold of it. I could not even get hold of the standard edition. So it came on 8th, went out of stock. It came on 12th, went out of stock. Then it came on 14th and went out of stock. So you can imagine कि मेरे को कितनी मुश्किल हुई थी to get my hands on it. तो मेरी expectations तो 7वें आसमान पे थी. Even जब मैं इसको खोल रहा था, my hands were shaking. I was so scared from inside क्योंकि पहली बात I really wanted this game to be good. एंड दूसरी बात, पिछली जो गेम्स निकल के आई थी जैसे RDR2, आई वॉज एक्साइटेड एंड हाइप्ड फॉर दोज गेम्स ऑल्सो, बट दे नेवर वर एबल टू लिव अप टू दैट हाइप. एंड आई रियली वॉन्टेड DMC टू बी रियली गुड एंड नॉट बर्न इन द हीट ऑफ इट्स ओन हाइप एंड क्रस्ट अंडर माई ओन एक्सपेक्टेशंस. सो बड़े डर के मैंने इसको खोला एंड आई पॉप्ड इट इन एंड गेस वॉट, दिस गेम, इट्स जंक. It's absolute junk. It's junk food, but it's that good kind of junk food. वो McDonald's वाला गंदा वाला junk food नहीं. It's that juicy burger that is just dripping with goodness. वो pizza that just melts in your mouth. DMC5 is fun. That nonsense over the top fun. It's that junk food that you can't stop having, even though आपको पता है ये junk food है. I played it for 6 to 7 hours straight. एंड उसके बाद भी मैंने इसको बंद इसलिए नहीं किया कि आई डिडंट वांट टू प्ले इट. आई क्लोज्ड इट बिकॉज मेरी फिंगर्स में क्रैम्प्स पड़ने शुरू हो गए थे. माई फिंगर्स गेव अप एंड माई आईज वर ब्लीडिंग एंड मेरा जो पिछवाड़ा है वो अभी तक नम है. DMC5 इज दैट फ्रीकिंग गुड. अब कैसे कैपकॉम ने ये मैनेज किया, आई डोंट नो. जस्ट फ्यू ईयर्स बैक कैपकॉम हैड लॉस्ट देयर वे. They were a developer that had lost the confidence and they were betting on these mobile stuff. Yuck! It's like somehow they've just found their mojo back. And DMC5 is, it's that pure, unadulterated fun. अब मैं कहाँ से शुरू करूँ? Let's talk about the start. It goes from 0 to 100 right from the start. And वहाँ से it just keeps on escalating. The story goes back and forth from past to the present day events. And it's told from 3 perspectives. So unlike DMC4, every main cast of this game gets a nice chunky part. Now it's certainly not a deep story. Neither it's some kind of a social commentary like DMC Reboot was. And honestly speaking, DMC does not need to be that. It's more like this family drama that is entangled in this high stakes power struggle. ये बहुत anime-like approach अपनाती है. Just like something like say Dragon Ball Z. So it's more like a Dragon Ball Z kind of a story. It's all about overcoming these unimaginable odds, overcoming this all-powerful villain, and it just works for DMC5. Nowadays, story is getting so much weight and it's being kept in the forefront of gaming. But Capcom को ये पता था कि this is a game that needs to be more focused on gameplay rather than story. So it was self-aware of what it was creating. So DMC5 की story is very playful in its nature. And when it comes to gameplay, it's action. The game is an action game through and through. And story is just there to serve it. So DMC5 में you're not going to have these lengthy, long story expositions or lengthy dialogues that come in the way of the gameplay.
What? No chit-chat or monologue? Just getting right to the point, huh?
So once you're into the flow of the combat, you're just cutting through demons, destroying them in style. DMC5 is so self-aware and it knows it's stupid. it knows it's a nonsensical, over-the-top action game. Right from the start, DMC just oozes with style. अब आजकल की गेम्स में ये जो ओपन वर्ल्ड गेम सिंड्रोम चल रहा है, they have practically forgotten about pacing. But DMC5 की जो pacing है, it's relentless. But the real beauty of DMC5 lies in the purity of its execution and finesse of its combat dynamics. So you start off as Nero, जिसकी जो kit है, it's not as flexible as Dante, but it is certainly more creative. And it keeps surprising you with these various mixtures of devil breakers. For example, you have something called Buster Arm, which is this mega powerful arm that can apply devastating hits. It can launch enemies across the room. And then you have something called Punchline, which is this rocket. It's kind of this rocket punch which punches enemies. And it can even be used as a skateboard to move around the room, maneuver around the room, and do devastating combos with. And then you have something called Ragtime, which slows down time so that you can reposition for bigger combos and set up your attack plan. So these devil breakers are crazy. I was surprised by how diverse these devil breakers were and how crazy they were. मैं बैठ के सब ये सोच रहा था, यार ये लोग पी क्या रहे थे, सूंघ क्या रहे थे, what drug were they on? So आपको जब भी क्या नई devil breaker मिलती है, you're always curious, what does this do? How can I use this devil breaker? And then you have your standard Red Queen, which you can rev up for these extreme combos, these exceed combos. And then you have your Blue Rose, which is your gun, which you can again charge up for some special attacks. And then you have this new character called V, जो सबसे अजीब है. At first मेरे को खास पसंद भी नहीं आया. He summons these pets, so he has a pet griffin and then this Black Panther to do his bidding. At first he felt extremely limited. अगर आपने RPGs खेली है तो उसमें जो summoner type class होती है ना, so it felt like I'm playing one of that class. And कभी-कभी तो मैं ये सोचता था कि why am I even playing this? His attacks are indirect. एक delay भी है उसकी response और feedback में. Yeah, maybe I was playing with Nero, which felt so immediate that just shifting from Nero to V, it just felt that everything had this lag. But once I got used to it, he actually became extremely fun to play. V has this new layer of combat dynamic which is super interesting. It's like this risk and reward. अब क्या होता है, because he is very weak, positioning becomes very important for him. So he needs to stay away from the combat. But अगर उसका pet मर जाता है, he needs to close that distance to rest that pet faster. So you have this risk reward scenario going on कि मैं क्या उसके पास जाऊँ, should I take that risk or should I stay back? And then you also need to keep reading your book to fill up your devil meter so that you can summon Nightmare, which is this big giant that comes to aid you and he can just pummel through the enemies. You need to be extremely skillful in guiding your pets to pull off those crazy over-the-top moves. And then even if your pet weakens the enemies, they can't kill the enemy. So you need to be landing those finishing blows. And if in case you can chain up multiple killing blows, you can rack up style bonus. So it's always about, can I weaken 2-3 enemies before I can chain up those kills? And once you get a hang of him, he's actually super fun. And the thing that I really like about him is how he fits into the story. So he's like this enigma. आपको ये नहीं पता कि उसके दिमाग में क्या चल रहा है, वो है कौन. He's this mystery. You start making those theories कि ये V actually है कौन, and can I even trust him? What is his agenda?
So, what's your name?
I have no name. I am but 2 days old.
जो लोगों को प्रॉब्लम होने वाली है ना, वो इस चीज़ से होने वाली है कि गेम आपको डांटे एज अ प्लेबल कैरेक्टर हाफवे थ्रू द गेम पकड़ाती है. बट नाउ व्हेन आई लुक बैक, इट मेक्स मोर सेंस पहली बात तो ये कंसिडर करने वाली है कि डांटे की जो किट है, इट इज़ very complicated. He has so many weapons and styles that he needs to be constantly switching between, which makes him very flexible and versatile, but at the same time it can be intimidating. Dante का जो gameplay, it is pretty much unhinged. So it's like जब आपके ऊपर जो chains and shackles थी, they have been taken off and your training weight is taken off. And जहाँ आप 100 times the gravity of Earth पे practice कर रहे थे, now you are back to normal gravity. So he's this powerhouse that is almost like God. So giving Dante to a new player, जिस बेचारे ने आज तक स्कूटर नहीं चलाया, उसको 20 gear truck with 20,000 horse power दे दोगे तो बेचारे का सोचो कि क्या हाल होने वाला है. So उस person के लिए, newcomer के लिए, Nero is a good starting point. His kit is far more accessible and it is easier to grasp Nero. Not to say कि नीरो को खेलने के लिए स्किल नहीं चाहिए. To play Nero at an insanely high level, you have to have skill. But Nero is still more accessible than Dante. So when a person gets a hang of Nero, he can get a feel of the combat. And then जब उसके training wheels उतार दोगे and you're going to give him Dante, he is not going to get overwhelmed by it. And he would be able to control the overwhelming powerhouse that is Dante. And जैसे story setup भी हुई है, it makes more sense because through and through it's Nero's story. He is the underdog. He is the one that needs to redeem himself, needs to grow in power, prove that he is not a deadweight. And he is not a boy anymore. While Dante is already a man, he represents absolute power. So जब चीज़ें sideways जारी होती हैं, despite all the efforts that Nero and V are putting in to save this crisis, to save this world, but things are still getting worse and worse and odds are stacking up against them and they are failing over and over again to contain this evil. And at this point जब आपको finally Dante दिया जाता है, Dante the man, he comes in and takes over from the kids to sort out stuff. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
All right, enough's enough. Can't let a boy do a man's job.
Hey, wait. I'm not done talking yet.
Okay, you get some rest.
So when Dante enters into the arena with his overpowered kit to kick the living shit out of this evil, you instantly feel this overwhelming rush of emotions, overwhelming rush of power. And as the heavy rock metal swells up and your blood pumps up as you're starting to put things back into place, oh my god, that feeling, it just makes you feel so freaking awesome. You feel good. It is always pure joy to play Dante. And Capcom has done such a fabulous job with him that his playstyle rekindles your raw, primitive, primal instinct. I could feel myself just getting lost in the zen-like flow of his combat, matching the rhythm of his moves with the rhythm of the music. The music erupts as you perform better and get closer to the SSS rank, and then the Devil Trigger theme kicks in and the guitar solos and shreds rev up. You automatically get this sudden drive to perform better. Dante's playstyle is all about rhythm and timing. You can change between your styles and your weapons. हम आगे जाके next video में बात करेंगे Dante के styles, उसके weapons के बारे में. We are going to talk about his super awesome bike that fits into the game and is actually a potent weapon. And we'll talk about what makes Dante and DMC5 so goddamn fun to play. So stay tuned to Mixed Up, subscribe to us, like this video, share this video, and stay tuned for the next video जहां हम बात करेंगे Dante के बारे में.